Hi everyone, welcome to the Enthusiastic Buddhist. Today I want to talk about the importance of practicing mindfulness in our lives. On my website I wrote a post about mindfulness titled Joy in the Present Moment, and I mostly outline the benefits of practicing mindfulness as being its power to reclaim our sense of aliveness and happiness in the present moment. Because once we touch that joy that comes from living with full awareness and appreciation, we can bring that touch of sacredness to all our everyday activities. However, mindfulness has many other long-lasting benefits as well. Some of the most profound benefits of mindfulness comes from its ability to transform our relationships with ourselves and with others. Mindfulness can transform our relationships to the point where we'll wonder how we ever lived without it. Mindfulness means being fully aware of what's happening in the present moment. In the present moment, we can see that the past and the future are simply an idea, a mental formation, and yet although our body is fully present in the now, our mind is usually entertaining thoughts about the past or the future. Whenever I think back to my teenage days and the stupid things I used to get up to, especially if you're drunk, you can do a lot of things that you wouldn't do normally if you're sober. So, I have a lot of memories that make me cringe when I think about them. And these memories still haunt me 20 years later whenever I bring them to mind. And I can relive all the humiliation again in the present moment. And it makes me wonder just how many of us regurgitate these unhelpful memories of our past and bring it into the present moment. I mean, not only does it create a poor self-image that we then hold of ourselves, but it harms our self-confidence and ability to discover our full potential. We need to recognise that we're greater than the sum of our experiences. And more importantly, in Buddhism, however, bringing the past into the present reinforces this belief of a permanently existing self, which we then define by our past memories and whatever past or present labels we also identify with, such as, I'm an angry person or I never achieved anything in my life. A belief in a permanently existing self is considered delusional in Buddhist thinking because how can we be permanent when we're always changing? But this is a big topic that I'll address later in another video. But now getting back to mindfulness and how the past hinders our appreciation of the present moment. This might seem a little bit dramatic, but one of the things I did when I decided to follow the Buddhist teachings with all my heart was to burn all my old diaries. Now, since the age of 12, I had written almost daily diary entries, so I had a lot of diaries to burn. Writing had given me an outlet for expressing my thoughts and my emotions, but I guess I was really motivated to keep a diary because I didn't want to forget anything. I wanted to be able to read and remember all that had happened to me, like later on when I was an old lady. But what struck me was that after having experienced some of the tranquility of mind that comes from practicing meditation and mindfulness on a daily basis, reading through my diary entries put my mind in a place of terrible turmoil. I felt my mind and my body reliving all the experiences again, the good and the bad. And I noticed how even the happy memories put my mind in a state of unrest because there was still the small element of longing or craving in my mind for those experiences, people or places. And I really began to see how maintaining a mind free from greed, hatred and craving was key to living happily in the present. The Buddha's teachings on the second noble truth defines craving as the cause of suffering. He told us, if the sticky, uncouth craving overcomes you in the world, your sorrows grow like wild grass after rain. But if in the world you overcome this uncouth craving hard to escape, sorrow rolls off you like water beads off a lotus. I can tell you that reading through my diaries seemed to only increase my cravings and my sorrows. I had sorrows sticking to me, not rolling off me like water beads off a lotus. So the two most important reasons why I decided to get rid of my diaries was because, one, it only caused me mental sorrow in my mind, especially when I relive the painful past memories in the present moment. and 2, because I didn't want to be defined by my past anymore. The teachings on karma say that we're creating our future in the present moment. So why would I want to keep bringing my craving of the past into the present, which will only create more sorrow and longing in the future? Actually, remembering our past can help us to develop some regret so we don't make the same mistakes in the future. But there's a difference between reflecting on a past incident and vowing not to make the mistake, and dwelling and immersing ourselves in the past for hours on end. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that everyone goes out and destroys their diaries and mementos, but I personally found it a very liberating event, and the further along I travel on the path of mindfulness, the happier I am that I made that decision. For me, I have removed something from my life that was an obstacle to cultivating present moment awareness, and to the peace that can only be felt in the present moment, in the now. Of course, liberating myself of my physical diaries hasn't completely eliminated all my thoughts about the past. Those thoughts still come into my mind, but through the power of mindfulness, I can choose whether I hang on to the memory or not. Something that served me well is to remind myself that all memories are uncertain. Our perception of what happened in the past is usually skewed with many of our own biases. So in the case of our mistakes, what we did in the past might not really have been that bad after all. So should we really be beating ourselves up over it again and again? Wouldn't it be better to recognise that as long as we remain focused on the present, then we can be empowered to be whoever we want to be right now without carrying over so much negative self-talk? When we practice mindfulness, we need to also practice acceptance, forgiveness and love. And this means we need to accept what has happened, forgive ourselves, let go of the past, reclaim our awareness of the present moment and begin again with a more kind and compassionate attitude to ourselves as well. Something many of us are also probably guilty of doing is bringing our past memories of other people into the present moment. For instance, if I told you to think about your partner, your parent, child, there's this whole narrative that we carry with us about them. In the instance of thinking about our mother, if we consider her to be a bit of a nagger, then how often does it happen that she only has to make a slight negative remark about us, our job or our partner, and we fly off the handle because she's at it again? Our mind, if not also our mouth, is screaming, she's always giving me a hard time, she's always disapproving, why can't she just leave me alone? The reason our reaction is often so quick and intense is because the past story we've been carrying about them is being brought into the present. Practicing mindfulness in the present can free us of our negative habitual reactions towards others. It allows us to suspend all our previous opinions and judgments so that we can bring that person into a space of clear seeing, a space that is free of mental elaboration. We can just see the person for who they are right at that moment. And often the magic that happens at that time is that when we suspend our usual commentary, we can see the hurt and fear underlying the words of the other person. And this shifts our concern from ourselves to the other because we can see their tremendous suffering. Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Buddhist monk, teacher and Nobel Peace Prize nominee, says, "When another person makes you suffer, it's because he suffers deeply within himself and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he needs help." That is the message he's sending. So when we can hold others in a space of unconditional acceptance, we give them this beautiful gift. We present them with a love that isn't based on how much they've done for us. And then we can also practice forgiveness by not bringing any of their past mistakes into the present. So, how liberating is this for us and for others? We don't have to carry around all that mental baggage with us anymore. If our relationships are experiencing problems, when we examine closely, we might see that most of our dissatisfaction comes because we have an old story about them that we keep bringing back up. And we wouldn't want others to continuously bring up our mistakes that we made in the past, so we should practice kind forgetfulness and look upon them with fresh eyes every day. So whether it's your parent or your partner, try this exercise. Look at them today as if you haven't seen them in a very long time. Take a real interest in them and what they have to say. If they've always been complaining about the same thing, it's probably because we haven't really heard them, and they knew that, and so they felt they had to keep repeating themselves all the time to be heard. Thich Nhat Hanh's great quote says, "The most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers." So by practicing meditation and having greater mindfulness, we'll slowly learn to let go of our opinions and judgments of others. We can truly start to love others because we'll be welcoming them into a space of unconditional acceptance where our perception of others is no longer clouded by the past. Mindfulness is a powerful fertilizer for encouraging the growth of kind and compassionate relationships. And you'll find that as you begin to wake up with mindfulness, you'll be awed by your mind's usual tricks in shaping your reality. And you'll be able to become the master instead of the slave of your own mind. In relation to ourselves, mindfulness gives us the ability to forgive ourselves and let go of the past and not keep bringing it into the present moment experience. It doesn't mean we can't think about the past. We can still use it as an object of inquiry and learn things about it, but we don't get lost in it anymore. We can stay grounded in present reality and recognise that the past is only so valuable and it's the present moment that matters most. So as you can see, mindfulness has an important place to play in relationships that we have with ourselves and with others. So it's really worth strengthening this muscle of mindfulness, which we can do by practicing mindfulness meditation. I'll put a link below to a 10-minute mindfulness meditation that I filmed recently, as well as some links to a few articles that I wrote on mindfulness on my website, enthusiasticbuddhist.com. So please be kind enough to hit that like button and share this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to my channel for future videos. And I hope you all have a great week, and I hope to see you in the next video.